Welcome to Literary Lands. Welcome to Literary Lands.
I'll back up to like some things that I definitely like. Like, there's a lot to be left on the table, a little bit, I would say. Like, I think we just talked about it. Like, some of the lack of deaths, honestly, like that could have like solidified some storylines for us. Mm-hmm. But that being said, like when that final battle came and they freaking called Braxis the Bone Carver and Weaver, and they're like,
love that.
Go! I'm like, oh my god, this
it was like
is
singing
like,
a lawnmower.
Yes, that's exactly, and that was awesome. Some of the cool powers too, like every time like they talked about, you know, Cass and Az are just standing there, but then their siphons all turn on. I just feel like they get like 6 inches taller, and they swell up like that, and then now they're just like all jacked up and ready to go. I'm assuming they take creatine beforehand as well.
Probably
Yeah.
Get that extra scoop at Smoothie King.
Get that protein.
No, you're touching on like a lot of the details of the battle. Something I loved about like the second half of the book, especially, which just from my personal things I would read would be more like history-based stuff. I really enjoyed the way she described the like troop movements and how this war was fought on this continent, and thinking about like referencing this map quite a bit. Like in the front of the book, like when they started talking about where like groups of soldiers were moving, I was like, I gotta go read that. I gotta figure out where they're moving and why they're doing it. And when they started talking about like gaining the high ground and, you know, catching your enemy off guard and fighting them when they want you to fight them and all that, I was like, that's cool. Like that's really kind of getting into a little bit more of a real world area where I was excited to read about it.
Because you'd think even with like almost with the powers, that stuff would be almost a moot point, but no, they actually like very similar to how normal people would. You know,
it was muddy and they were marching.
So I could kind of go the opposite of that. I'm sorry to jump in since playing off of that.
I'm not sorry for it.
That's fine. I hate you.
Not acceptable.
I was giving you a compliment.
Oh, is that right? My bad.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
I love you. Sorry. I thought you said okay. So yeah, to play off of that, I think we're gonna have this in the fan questions from what I read from the fan questions.
Did you get some inside info?
I snuck in and read them, but I think there's a lot of just kind of fluff in the book where it's just like it's 700 pages. The final war is like 60, right? And 50 of that is like troop movements. Come on, there's just way too much fluff throughout the book. There's just way too much. I don't know, just introducing characters, not fully explaining them, not fully resolving them. A lot of painting scenes, for instance, in the first book.
She was painting battles.
I thought they could have expanded on some more things that were way more important. They should have spent 10 more pages with the cereal.
On that real quick point though, that was hilarious that in the last like several different times she's like, oh god, I'm gonna paint that later. Like,
yeah, she started
every time she said that, I was like freaking dying.
Did you notice? Did you like how the cauldron turned into like the Death Star from Star Wars? Like all of a sudden this thing is just like
a big thing over.
1,000 people wiped off immediately. It's like, oh.
James has something he wanted to say.
Yeah, no,
about
the counter, the other side. I guess that was part of it. Like the second half, we keep talking about how fast it went, and like we were able to just breeze through it, and hopefully it's something I'm going to like keep in mind for like the next series we read is like the parts we talk about being slow. All of that like that she set up is why that second half went so quickly.
That's a good
so
point.
I'm going to try to go in the next one being more patient, because even though I was like, oh, like I wish I would just get into action, like an entirety of the first book like flew through like super quick because of how she set up through the first parts of each of the books.
That's a good call. What was your favorite part then? Somebody.
Favorite part of the whole series or just this book?
Whole series.
Yeah. Yes.
The whole series, I liked them. The big reveal that Valeris was like this amazing place.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And I like thinking about what that townhouse looked like. I really liked the very domestic parts of the book. Like, how would I live in Valeris?
You like the painting.
Yeah, I was like, where would I live in Valeris? I would like to live
in a
there.
townhouse together?
Yes. My answer would have to be yes.
Yes.
Are you talking about chapter 55?
Bro
No,
house.
Sorry, that's just on my mind right now.
I think we discussed.
Do we have a ping pong table?
Obviously.
Do you think
Honestly, I liked the scenes where in this book early when Feyre was in Springcourt and she was kind of like playing like double agent and like I just felt like that was the most where Feyre just like took control and she was like smart, she was like thinking ahead, she was playing Ianth, she was playing Tamlin and Lucian, And I know obviously there were consequences to that, but I was like, all right, go Feyre. Let's go.
Not that part, but when she messed up Ianthe for the final time.
Like messed up her hands. Oh, the last time with the Weaver.
No,
I was gonna say.
where she beat the shit out of her hands, but then also she just left her to the Weaver. I mean,
Who got more Toro, Claire Bendor or Evil?
Oh, what do you think she ever did? Like, what do you think she ate her? Did she like torture her? Like, I don't understand.
She made her into part of her house, bro.
Oh,
The roof was made of hair.
She got drafted. Like,
that is true. That is a really good point.
Scott, we know. I won't speak for you, but I will a little bit. We know your favorite part was the cereal. I do want to know why. Can you expand upon your love for the cereal, please?
Oh well, I mean, it's just this kind of mystical character that everyone, all these badass High Lords are afraid of, and here comes Fur coming out of the human world, and she's just able to tame it like right away in book 1, and like they start to create, and you can kind of feel it, like there's this bond between them. The Suriel is quite open to providing all this information, kind of wants to have the one-on-one with her.
You caught me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll eat
I
you.
followed into your trap.
But
yeah.
honestly, did you feel like she was after we saw that relationship? Did you feel like the serial was kind of letting himself get trapped just because?
For her, for sure. Yeah.
Because
It seemed to have an odd connection to that world as a whole and wanting to see it survive, and so it kind of knew that hey, this is the one chance we got right here.
I thought it just had a penchant for drama.
Well, being painted
just
as
like
just
being in on stuff.
just a pure truth teller of I'll just tell the truth and that's all I care about, versus what we found out of legitimately caring on a deeper level of what actually does happen with my truths. That was definitely pretty cool. So Scott, I'll ask you a question.
Go on.
Go on.
Was the Surreal's ending worth it? Good, justified, whatever you want to say. Was it appropriate? I don't know, maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
Suspected end.
Yeah, I was saying.
Sorry.
If it had actually died.
Yeah.
No body, no death.
I don't think it needed to. I don't think it was something that was absolutely necessary to drive the story anywhere.
Interesting.
I don't think. What happens after their encounters in book 1 and book 2? It just kind of goes off into the woods and you don't hear about it until
Just makes
they're
Eat raw chicken.
Now it is possible.
Don't tell anyone how I live.
There are 4 more books, so there may be more opportunities for them to be well, God darn it, I wish that Cyril was still alive. We could find out the answers.
Are there multiple serial?
Yes.
multiples.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
she's got this personal connection.
There's
She
only
knows
the
how to
one.
hunt.
This is the one.
She knows how to capture this one.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like her own pet Cyril. But yeah, if they had left it alive, I don't think anything changes. I think I would have preferred to see someone actually, a main character in the story die. I think we all agreed probably
Yeah, we
Amryn
talked
would have
about
just been appropriate right then and there. But again, 4 more books, we don't know how the next
Great
one
point. I like Amryn, but what was the point of her coming back? Honestly,
I
right?
agree.
I feel like we'll probably see. And it's a lot of that. It's leaving
she
other
died.
people.
Did I
leaving
miss-
open for other people to tell their
misread
stories.
what was going to happen when she unleashed herself? Because I didn't think that dying was part of that. I just thought she was going to be released and she wouldn't remember who she was, but I didn't know she was just going to die as a result of doing that.
I didn't remember that
Yeah.
in the preface either. Her coming back as just Faye, man, I think she should have been fine with, going literally into the sunset. Literally into the sunset. Also, side note, I don't know what I was expecting. I honestly expected Amryn's superpower to be a little bit even bigger than it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet. She clearly saved
I
her
mean,
day.
she wiped out the whole army.
She did pretty good.
By herself.
She did pretty good, but they built it up for 2 books of that she's a literal nuke, and
I don't know what else you
pretty
could
good,
want.
but yeah.
So I will say, not to derail the conversation, there is a lot to expound upon in the fan questions. We love our fans, and
Let's get some of those.
my goodness, these are some really smart people. So we're going to reset, and we'll be back in a moment.